You almost heard I'm a real nerd. People say I'm a fool, but they never got the news that I'm a vile one. Oh yeah, I'm a vile one. You better turn it up, better keep the channel down, cause you're watching VileMike and his real wild child. Oh yeah, I'm a vile one. You better turn it up, better keep the channel down, cause you're watching VileMike and his real wild child.
Buy something at SD GameSwap, or I'm going to put all of you in a cargo container and transport you to the Borg.
Howdy, folks. This is VileMike here, and I'm on my way back to the U.S. and got something a little special this time. Mrs. Vile found me a Kinder double pack, so we're going to open 2 this time. See what these end up being. So, yeah, they're identical, obviously. This one's already coming apart a little bit. But can I get it?
All right, never mind. I was going to play the full thing, but I think it's just funny. Yeah, I didn't get enough views as far as I'm concerned on those videos. On the previous videos I was doing for the previous weeks, I was getting about 1,000 views per video. The Kinder videos dropped to like dozens.
Oh,
What happened?
I have no idea, but
they didn't.
at least on YouTube, they're getting very few views. On TikTok, they're still getting a couple hundred, but I guess on TikTok,
because it's a Kinder egg that's banned in the US, it's like it's not like up promoted in the algorithm.
It might be,
right?
But I did do both the hashtags for the Kinder Joy and the Kinder Surprise,
right?
But it still didn't hit.
Gotcha.
But I still, I had a bunch of them that I meant to post earlier, so I thought I'll do a whole week of trying to get them out. I only got 4 or 5 instead of 7, but
lazy.
Well, my work schedule kind of screwed me over. I ended up having to work Wednesday. I was like, I'm going to have Wednesday off, so I'm going to, go down to Mexico, see Mrs. Vile, get some work on videos done, because I still have a Vile review that's nearly finished. It's like 75, 80% done. So all I need is one solid afternoon to finish it off. But my boss was like, hey, we don't want you to do certain things, so can you work Wednesday and get them done early, get these things done earlier? And I'm like, fine. So I ended up doing that. One of the other things that kind of sucked was I did go to see Mrs. Vile yesterday, or Friday night, and I left Saturday. And I thought I'd share the story because it was kind of funny. For the 4th time in a row, I've been randomly selected for secondary inspection.
Hopefully you weren't bootlegging more of those Kinder eggs into the country. That could end you. You end up in El Salvador for that.
Well, one of the funnier things about it, I didn't mention this before, but about the 2nd time out of 4 that I was sent to secondary.
Didn't you have
the guy literally,
dude?
I did tell the story?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so I won't. Basically, the guy said, if you give me $10, I'll go ahead and let you keep them. But I told him the joke is I open them before I cross the border. But this time I get sent to secondary. I park in the space, and they tell you to not leave your car until they tell you to leave your car, right?
Mm-hmm.
This guy walks up to me, looks at me confused, and goes, wait, weren't you here in secondary just a couple of weeks ago? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, if you're sent to secondary, you're not supposed to be sent to secondary again randomly for about 8 weeks. And I'm like, dude, in the last 5 weeks, I've been sent to secondary 4 times. And he goes, yeah, you're white. You can just leave. Oh, sorry, he didn't say white, but I'm assuming it was because I'm white. He goes, you can just leave. So I ended up not getting my car searched at all.
I'm guessing it's because you're crossing the border a lot. Right?
Yeah, they know you do. It's like
Maybe
you're
they're
going to see your
figuring you're,
wife, your kids. Yeah, back and forth. Hello.
Because it is
So-
like pouring white people who bring most of the drugs into the country. So
But yeah, he was like, you can just go. They didn't even pop my hood to look under the hood, which is one of the only things they'll tend to do. Even if they don't ask you to leave your car, they'll at least check under your hood. And they didn't even bother doing that. They didn't open any of my doors, check my trunk, nothing. And one of the funnier things for me is one of the reasons I was crossing the border so early yesterday was because I promised a customer on my eBay store that I would try to ship something out that they purchased Friday or Saturday. And due to a mistake on my part, because the original box that I wanted to ship the stuff in was like half an inch too short to work, I had to get a new box, and the new box was just like way too big. It was like 3 inches too thick. And I literally ran out of packing material to make sure it wouldn't get messed up. So I ended up crossing the border with this giant sealed box that's about 4 feet long, 3 feet wide, 6 inches tall.
A body.
And because I didn't want people to see it, I covered it with a blanket.
that always works.
So
Oh, yeah.
I'm literally crossing the border with a giant box covered with a blanket. And the guy basically goes, yeah, you can just leave.
You could have had a body in there.
The old blanket trick works every time. Nobody.
Yeah, it protects you from the boogeyman so they can't get you. So, yeah, blankets work.
Well,
So-
I did not have this on my bingo card. When I came into town yesterday, my daughter comes over before she's about to head to her place to go to sleep. So we're out in her truck, we're smoking a joint, and we're in the bed of the truck smoking a joint. And it's like, wow, smoking a joint with my daughter at my hotel right next to a cop shack. Like, I didn't have that on my bingo card this morning.
I do that all the time, man.
And I am literally sitting there outside my hotel. The cop shack is right there. I can see the cop cars. I can see the cops. And I'm just smoking a joint with my daughter.
Is it in a legal state?
Yes, it's legal here.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean-
whenever I'm at Pier 39, I happen to be smoking a joint or something, and this cops patrol all the time, right? I just go, oh, sorry guys, let me move away. I don't want you guys to secondhand smoke. And 9 out of 10 times, the cop is like, we don't care, or thanks. They're like, yeah, we know it's legal here, man. Come on, we're not gonna harass you over that shit.
What I think is funny is when I was
Unless
a
you're in
teenager.
Texas.
When I was a teenager here in California, when I was in high school, instead of living with my parents per se, I lived in their guest house. So I had the entire house to myself. But, of course, my dad and stepmom gave me the whole speech about, definitely no drugs, no smoking. You can smoke your cigarettes, but don't smoke your anything else. Because, and they were vehemently against any sort of marijuana usage on their property. Fast forward to when it's made legal, and I come a few years ago, I had to move back in with my stepmom because I had some financial issues. So I lived with her for about 6 months, and I come home to find her smoking a joint out in the back patio. And I'm just like, the times they are a-changing. Read me the riot act without even catching me smoking weed. Is now smoking weed now that it's legal.
Well, it was funny when I went to a dispensary a few years back in Illinois. This is right back when they were opening and they were just getting and it was all legal, and I was opening up in Illinois. And I asked the guy, I said, "How long you been working here?" He's like, "Since they've been open." He goes, "What's the biggest thing that shocks you?" He goes, "All the old people who come in." Like, he's like, yeah, you expect a bunch of young kids, college and all that, but he's like, man, I got these 60, 70, 80-year-old people. And he said one of the funnest things he heard was this woman say, well, it's the first time I ever got a receipt for buying weed.
Yeah, old people get shocked.
So, all right. So I did finish Andor this week. And I am dumbfounded at how uninteresting the whole series ended up being for me. I now firmly believe that Acolyte is better than Andor.
So you think that each year before BBY1 should have been a season instead of
It should have been a
30
season.
minutes?
It should have been more integrated. It should have been more coherent. I am thoroughly pissed that the TIE fighter that he stole in the first fucking episode is never brought up again. I'm so sorry. I'm like, I thought, it might be like a last episode thing where they bring in the fighter that he stole. Since he's the only one who knows how to fly it, he does something cool with it, but it ends up getting destroyed or he crashes it, and which is why it's not brought up again. But no, it's a Chekhov's gun that they just completely are like, yeah, we're just going to fuck it over. We just wanted something cool for the first episode.
Like his sister, there was no conclusion of that. Like, what was the whole point?
Not everything gets a conclusion.
Yes, but it's bad storytelling to have stuff like that happen.
Yeah, you start off with him looking for his sister, then that's the end of it. I'm like,
Well,
what?
that's how it started out. That's not where it ended.
Yeah,
But
there's
one
nothing...
of the things I loved how they did the second season with each 3 episodes being a block of those years, being a block of that year, really building up to Rogue One. But I mean, when you're seeing, I really thought the payoff was nice, especially. I almost could feel bad for Dedra. And I love I love listening to her behind the scenes about playing that character. How she's like, yeah, she's got to do this. She's got to do that. She knows this place is ruthless. She knows how the game's play. But she thinks she's playing the system and doesn't realize she's being played as well.
And her own competence was actually her downfall within that system. I thought that was kind of interesting, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, her whole thing is she's only been, this is the only time we've ever seen it. She has that tough, cold exterior. But when she's around, oh shit, what's his name?
Cyril,
yeah.
You can remember because think Cyril, and he eats the weird blue
cereal.
Yeah, he likes the spiders or something. And I mean, the difference between those two is he's a true believer. I mean, he really believes in the Empire and then realizes, unfortunately too late. And I love what the guy who played Cyril's like, how he's seeing this. And he's like, this guy's been on this planet. He thought he was doing the right thing. Turns out, and then he finds out Dedra's been lying and playing him. And I mean,
he had come to really like those people. Like he liked the rebels on that planet. So, yeah.
Well,
I
also,
liked the show too. I thought it was really good.
From a story point, or from a storytelling perspective, I liked Cyril's storyline. Okay. From beginning to end, I liked that, he was, going after Andor specifically. He joins up, he gets recognized for his potential. He gets tagged for this mission where he's, because he's a low level person, he still doesn't get to learn all the information about it or what his real purpose is. But when he has the opportunity to actually arrest Andor or, kill him in that fight, sorry for the spoilers, people. He ends up, not only not capturing Andor has no idea who the fuck he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are
And
you?
he's taken out unceremoniously.
Yeah.
To me,
Well,
that
I
is a
think it was
full
more than that. I
freaking.
don't think it was so much that he wanted to. He was like he thought that he was searching for like instigators from off planet, right?
Yeah.
And then he found out that that wasn't what he was doing at all. And then as soon as he saw somebody who he recognized as an off planet instigator, it actually turned out that person wasn't an off planet instigator. But he just immediately like took out all his anger and frustration with like the Empire and what was going on Andor. I didn't really see it as him trying to arrest Andor. He found Andor as a focus for all the anger he had about everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
But for me, he had a full arc. That was what was beautiful about
absolutely.
that particular thing.
Yep, absolutely.
Andor's arc kept getting interrupted and never fit. He'd start something and then he wouldn't finish. He'd start something, then he wouldn't finish. Then he'd start something and then he wouldn't finish. That kept pissing me off because you don't get any resolution to anything that he's going through as a character. And because we know that he dies in Rogue One, it's everything that he wanted to accomplish. We don't know if he actually does those things.
Right.
They don't necessarily say, oh, he didn't find his sister. They just be like, well, he looks for her, like I was saying, and then he stops looking for her. So we don't know if that was actually resolved. The TIE fighter, we know he got the friggin' TIE fighter. What happened to it afterwards? We don't know. We don't care.
Well, and again, what happened to all those people on that planet? I mean, I know the planets where they ended up setting the base, but those other people who were there, what happened to them?
Yeah, it's just
there was a lot of
so many.
They had to like condense it down to like the 12 episodes rather than 4 seasons or whatever they were going to do.
Yeah, that even the K2SO thing. I'm sorry, I liked having him back in the thing, but he just happens to, let me salvage this one robot because we need him for the movie.
Yeah,
that's all it looked like to me. It didn't seem important. They didn't play on it like using the robot for something. It should have been like the heist thing when they were doing the heist. It should have been.
Him? Sorry, what about him being all buddy to the robot, all of a sudden trusting, playing poker the next thing? I'm like, what? Where's the? How did he trust him so easily and so fast?
Well, it had been a year.
Yeah, it had been a year.
I'll give them that. It had been a year.
I do want to kind of go back. I want to kind of go back to the whole Dedra Cyril thing. Because, when you see that point of Cyril snap at her, and she's never seen him act like this, and he grabs her, and that actress just had some great range with that character. She was able to be like, go vulnerable real quick, like, okay, I got to break a little down here. And as Elihu had told me, and I had actually known because I'd already read the behind the thing with her. That whole thing where Krennic puts his finger on her, that was improv. Her expression was real.
Yeah.
And she said something afterwards to him. She's like, that was awesome.
To me, I don't know if you're going to call the show like how in Book of Boba Fett there was a lot of criticisms during those 2 episodes that were focusing on Din Djarin and Grogu.
Yeah,
and people literally were posting stuff like, "Well, this is supposed to be the Book of Boba Fett, not the Book of the Mandalorian and the Child." So I'm looking at this season of Andor, and I'm like, this is less about Andor, and it's more about Dedra and Cyril. It's their story. It's not his.
Have you watched the whole thing yet, Mike?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. I was, as I said, I was completely disappointed
You're not
with everything.
Complain about the Luthen and Clea episode. I actually thought was really good, and I thought Luthen deserved his own episode, even though he was only.
Lutheran, but Dedra Dedra shoots herself in the final foot when she's like, I'm going to go arrest him now. Instead of sending the people in there to do it, she wants to gloat. She wants to gloat. She wants to be the one to take him in. And he's like, no, you're not going to. She thinks she's won. And all of a sudden, it's like, she did not see him doing that.
Yeah.
She had no idea his level of commitment to the rebellion.
Yeah.
But
And
the backstory episode for him, I think, should have been done sooner.
I agree.
It probably should have been a season 1 episode, to be honest.
Yeah, episode 10. Episode 10 should have Andor in it at least. There was no Andor in episode 10.
But again, though, they didn't know they weren't going to have more seasons when they didn't do an episode for him in season 1, right? They thought they would have.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't know. A lot of it, I think, comes down to that.
So in all honesty, I was underwhelmed. And when I go back and I think about, the Acolyte, for one, the characters were a lot more compelling to me. The Jedi who, ends up becoming a father figure and that being his downfall, which exemplifies, the unattachment that the Jedi wanted to have.
Mm-hmm.
But it shows that they were flawed even back then.
Yes.
And the fact that you have the good sister end up turning bad and the bad sister end up getting good or turning good for the most part.
Was stupid.
To me, that was poetry.
No, that was stupid.
I'm sorry. I thought that was an excellent idea because it shows how the Jedi's teachings are flawed themselves and can lead someone to turning like they do, which is a setup for Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
Luke explained that to Rey why he stopped teaching after Kylo. He explained that part.
So yeah,
I'm gonna scoot. I gotta go and do a bunch of stuff because I'm going to go into the city today, and I gotta get out of my pajamas and.
No bread to show off today.
No, I didn't do bread today. I'm actually starting a loaf tonight, and I made bread a couple of days ago, so I do have a loaf, but it's already half gone. So it wasn't a bread baking morning. All right, but I will catch you all again soon.
All right. Well, since
actually, and just can you see the private chat, NB? NB? Oh, he's not there. Okay, guys, I'm going to put a link in the private chat. This is like unrelated to this. This is to do with the conversation in our previous stream, and this is a why the Trump versus Biden mental decline thingy. Why one matters. Ugh, I can't make my thingy do a paste. I'll have to find it. I can't find it. I was going to put I was going to do a thingy, but my computer's
send it to me on Instagram and I'll go to MD.
Oh, no, I got it. I got it now. Yeah. So if you want to send it to him, just because it kind of puts, and the guy's a very left-wing person, but it does clearly explain why one matters as much as the other. Like, yes, it mattered. But this matters because it's now. But anyway, I'll just leave that there. You can look at it or you can not look at it as you wish. But I just wanted to finish that up, just because that's the point we were making, but this guy makes it more clearly. Anyway, I will catch you all again soon. Sorry to drag us into the political moment, but anyway, enjoy your Andor and Acolyte chat, which I also enjoyed the Acolyte. There were things I didn't like about it, but there were things I really liked about that too. So, okay, catch you guys soon.
Later.
Well, here's the big thing that makes it important for me, why I think Acolyte was better than Andor. Everything in Acolyte makes the rest of Star Wars better. And I'll give you an example. One of the new things that they've introduced for the Disney canon is, the bleeding of the lightsabers to turn them red, right? All right, later, Dandelion.
What a stupid idea.
Yeah, okay, the idea behind it might be stupid, but the fact that it's now in canon, and it makes like certain things make more sense. The way that Acolyte handled it. Like when I can't remember her name, but when the good sister starts pouring her anger into everything, and you know, the kyber crystal's in touch with her hand, and her lightsaber changes from, you know, blue to red during that fight, it makes sense in context because Kylo Ren's lightsaber, remember, it's not really red, it's more of an orange. Not only that, it has issues, which is why it needs the little crossguard thing. And it makes sense for his character development because he wants to be evil, essentially. He wants to be a Sith, but he's inherently not. So it shows that his character shows that he's really able to be redeemed at the end, which makes, and I hate to say it, Rise of Skywalker a better film for it. And that's what Star Wars stuff should do. They should make the previous stuff even better. It shouldn't make the previous stuff worse. Andor is guilty of making Star Wars worse because now I care less about Rogue One.
Well, I'm the exact opposite. It makes me care about Rogue One more. Acolyte absolutely fucked everything up. Fucked every
Okay,
kind
give me an example.
Lore. You're telling me, okay, let's not even do Disney. Let's not even do lore. Let's just go with the fact that somehow she's able to magically get that crystal bleed real quick. Yet Vader's didn't turn red on Mustafar, and then in their canon comic books, it took him forever to get the crystal to bleed. So
that's exactly why it's better. Because remember, what happens to Darth Vader at Return of the Jedi?
No, it doesn't work.
No. What happens to Darth Vader in Return of the Jedi at the end?
Anakin defeats him.
No. Well, okay. Darth Vader, as Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, I consider them the same character, turns on the Emperor because he cares more about his son and being good, essentially, than the Emperor. So it would make sense that it's harder for Vader to actually pour enough anger into his crystal in order to make it bleed. It shows that he can be redeemed. That's why it's good. She, at that moment, not only was her crystal cracked and coming in contact directly with her skin, whereas, remember, Vader holds his lightsaber in his robotic hand. He's not actually coming into contact with it per se. So it would make sense as to why it was so difficult for him, because he still had, as much as evil as he had done, part of him was still good. At that moment, during that fight, when she is betrayed by her father figure, and she realizes everything that she had been working towards and going for was essentially a lie and false, and she had been misled. The fact that she was able to put her hate and anger into everything, even without the Sith teachings, showed that she is going to be irredeemable. And that made sense.
If you say so. I'm not even going to get into
But
that.
as I said, Vader having issues with it is a hint of the fact that he isn't fully evil, even as much as he wants to be.
Yeah, well, gee, also, let's do a cameo of Darth Plagueis before he's even Darth Plagueis.
So, I don't have a problem with that.
Of course you don't. You never have a problem with time changes. I do.
Okay, the reason I don't have a problem with that is because they already got rid of everything else beforehand, as far as they're concerned, as far as Disney's concerned. In my head, I can keep Legends and Disney canon separate.
Hell is Ki-Adi-Mundi in there when Ki-Adi-Mundi was flat out said to have been born?
Again, that was
on an official Return Attack of the Clones license trading card.
But again, that was before Disney bought the property. So as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't
Part
count anymore
of-
because they said it didn't count.
So, okay. So,
Whoever owns the IP owns the story, and they can say what's canon or not.
And as much as we don't want, as fans, as I said, I didn't like Disney to begin with when they got rid of Legends. I thought that was a bad move on their part. But in the context that they got rid of everything else, they're allowed to essentially say, well, this character isn't, 40 years old like he was in Legends. He's actually 200.
he
I
wasn't
don't have a problem with that.
Legends, though. That
What?
was official Star Wars Attack of the Clones merchandise.
Which
Yeah,
is,
you got to remember exactly what I just said before. Roddenberry even said Cybok is not canon.
No, well, I'm not going with that. I'm going with the fact that anything that appeared in Legends, and that includes the trading card games, it doesn't matter if it's officially licensed. And I'll give you an example. I love Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. Okay, I like the character Dash Rendar. I know he's an XP of Han Solo. I like his ship. I like his little robot buddy, Lebo. The whole nine, okay? As of right now, in Disney canon, he's not canon anymore. Has no place in the trilogy. That means everything he accomplished during Shadows of the Empire, both the book, the novel, the novel, the comics, and the game, have no bearing. Prince Caesar, same thing. Now, we know that his ship, the type of ship he has, sorry, I'm holding the straw like that, is canon, because the YT 2400 has now been brought back into canon because of Star Wars Rebels. But he himself is no longer canon. So that ship we saw in the special edition of A New Hope, that may or may not be the Outrider now, because even though George Lucas intended it to be the Outrider, we know it could just be any old 2400 ship.
Lord. This is why I don't get into these conversations anymore. They're boring. It's the same shit over and over again. I don't care. You don't care about certain things. It's just really not even worth talking about anymore.
Well, to
Anyway,
me, it's worth talking about because, as I said, I want to argue that Acolyte was better than Andor.
About canon anymore because honestly, Disney has fucked up their canon 6 ways from Sunday.
Okay, give me an example of something Disney has put into canon that messes up with their own previously established canon. Not confusing it with something from Legends. I'm talking about since Disney bought it.
Acolyte would definitely be the top choice, right there.
Okay, give me an example of something that happened in Acolyte that messes with Disney's canon.
I already told you why I don't like the Acolyte.
I didn't say that. I want you to defend your position. You said that they fucked up their own canon. How did they do that?
Girls should be acting the exact same way. The Jedi were completely incompetent retards. The story makes no sense. This girl has no idea why she'd even want to be a Jedi. And by the way, the Jedi didn't even do anything wrong. It was that damn lady who turned into some kind of fucking smoke. What the hell was he supposed to think?
Okay, so you just made my point for me. Okay,
that right there. They're the ones.
No, hold on. You said the Jedi were incompetent. I completely agree, and that adds to how the Jedi acted in the prequel trilogy. It shows that why they were falling apart, why they weren't succeeding. They had a good couple of people in their ranks, but overall their competency was faltering, and they were easily led astray because of the Clone Wars.
Basically,
that's why Acolyte made it better.
So basically, we're saying Ki-Adi-Mundi and Yoda lied in the Phantom Menace.
Remember what Obi-Wan said.
Not a lie, an omission of truth.
Yeah. Remember what Obi-Wan said about your point of view.
The Sith haven't been seen in over a millennia.
Exactly. And what Sith did Kaadi Monday and Yoda encounter during Acolyte?
Well, let's see. You had Muddy on the planet with the whole thing with the acolytes going on, the fighting going on with all that. You have him alive when he shouldn't be, and I don't care what you say. That's
You know,
him.
Mace was the one
But
that wasn't Mace the one that said the Sith hasn't been seen from over a millennia, but Mace was
no,
No,
nowhere
that was
involved
Kiadi
in that.
Monday
that
who
was
said
Monday.
that.
Okay,
If
sorry.
you actually go back and watch the Acolyte, Mundy actually never encounters an actual Sith. He encounters Jedi that have gone bad. That's not the same thing as a Sith.
Jedi that
So,
have gone rogue.
so from his point of view, what he said in Phantom Menace is 100% accurate,
No,
incongruous with the established lore from Obi-Wan
so
Kenobi during episodes 4 and 5.
okay. Well, then I guess Yoda's a liar because because obviously that lady's supposed to say she goes and sees Yoda. So what you're saying, Yoda covered this up?
Well, remember, she's conflicted from her position as being a Jedi, not because she's a Sith.
She's
So again, Yoda's not
she
lying.
flat out covered it up to blame a Jedi.
Yes, but Yoda doesn't know that.
Bullshit. Yoda doesn't know that. She said, "Master, we need to speak."
Remember, Yoda only has her word and the other Jedi present who are basically backing her up through ignorance or a lack of knowledge.
So you're telling me she was able to lie to Yoda?
Why not?
Okay, yeah.
What about Yoda makes you think he's a living lie detector? That he himself is not flawed. That the greatest Jedi of that age, including when Anakin goes bad, isn't flawed himself.
I didn't say he wasn't flawed.
But I'm just saying that shows that even he was not as perfect as even he thought he was, or as good or as capable as he thought he was.
He's more than capable to notice somebody lying or somebody's hiding something from.
Hiding something, yes, but able to detect a full-out lie? No, I don't think he can do that.
So you're saying that, oh, she just lied to him, and we're gonna go with that. Okay.
Well, Yoda never detected any lies, deception from Palpatine. So there you go.
Because Palpatine knew how to shield himself. He had that ability.
But it goes to show that even someone who's more capable than her is able to get, slide right past even Yoda.
The Sith had been hiding themselves for thousands of years, for 1,000 years. They had learned how to cloak themselves out of the Force.
Yeah.
Over time, they got better at it. Plagueis was one. Tenebus, then Plagueis, then Palpatine.
Excuse me.
No excuse.
Are you there, MB?
Guy was
you're breaking up really bad on my end.
So whoever this guy was supposed to be in the show, he is not a Sith.
As far as we know, yes, he's not a Sith.
Well, he said he was Sith, but he's not.
Yes, but when he said he was a Sith, it wasn't necessarily to either of the characters that we were talking about, Mundy or Yoda.
Yeah, we already talked about it.
So,
we already talked.
As I said,
I can agree on it.
Okay.
Your opinion.
So we agree that as far as, so we agree that Disney has not actually interfered with their own canon.
Yeah, they have interfered with their own canon. You just disagree with me on the process of what we're talking about with Acolyte. Fine. I'm not going to argue about a show that's been canceled. And as far as I'm concerned,
you're roboting.
Well, I can't do shit about the hotel.
I just wanted to let you know you're roboting, dude. I couldn't understand the words you just said.
Any of you guys ever see The Strain?
Doesn't sound familiar.
Mm. It's basically a show. It's basically kind of a vampiric kind of show.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was still fucking muted. What are you guys talking about? Because I was trying to bring something else up real quick.
Strain.
Say that one more time.
It's called The Strain.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Strain.
I
have not seen it.
Anyways, the show that finished a couple of years ago. I'm on the second season now. Basically, it's a show. Basically, the vampire creature. Basically, it's a parasite. It's a very interesting form of vampirism. It's quite good, quite gory at times. It's quite enjoyable, actually. Though they finally answered a question I was trying to figure out, which was, okay, this guy was okay. This guy was in a concentration camp. Yeah, a teenager. I'm like, wait a minute. You know, you're looking at his age, and this guy is like 90 or something. And then you find out, yeah, he is, and he's been using something to help stay alive. Yeah, the guy who plays Abraham is what's he been in? He was in Game of Thrones. The guy who did who ordered the Red Wedding execution.
The guy,
was
the Walter Frey character.
He was also the guy in Harry Potter.
Okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, he's in this. Abraham. He's the guy going after the vampire, or going after the head of the vampires.
Well, right now, I'm watching My Hero Academia, mostly because it was something Caddy got me into that now I'm watching with partially with my son. Right now, I'm at the part where the first movie takes place, so I stopped watching and I'm going to start watching the first movie, which is, from what I can tell after, because I only watched a little bit before I fell asleep, the main hero's backstory, the All Might character, one of the things I think is funny is NB. He has different punching attacks that he uses, and it's really funny because even though he's a character who's supposed to be Japanese, he traveled around the United States so much that his costume ends up being red, white, and blue because he likes America. And all his attacks are named after American states.
Yeah.
And he's got like the Carolina Smash, the Dakota Smash, the Detroit Smash. And in the beginning of the movie, he does one, and he goes, I named this one after where you're from, the California Smash. And I want to save that clip because I'm a Californian. But like each smash is supposed to be in comparison to his the power level that he's putting towards it. So like the Detroit Smash is his average is a smaller attack, right? Because it's just named for the city of Detroit.
Yeah.
So as the bigger the state, the bigger the punch is supposed to be. So of course his biggest one is the Texas Smash. And apparently his second largest one is, of course, now the California Smash. And I'm sorry, I love that. To me, it's so silly, it's so stupid, and it really fits his character that he would do something like that.
The California Smash. What did they do? Hit you with more taxes?
No, it's supposed to be from what I can tell, it's a more focused, powerful attack. So think of
That was a joke.
I know, but I'm actually going to explain it. Think of like the Texas Smash being a nuke going off, right? The California Smash would be a tactical nuke. So yeah, I'm halfway enjoying the series. I'm halfway not, because some of the episodes are incredibly slow, and it's like the same problem I had with Andor. They recap so much about what's already happened that their 20-minute episodes could be 15-minute episodes or even 10-minute episodes. I mean, there's literally a point where there's an arc going on where basically a bunch of heroes are infiltrating a bad guy base, right?
Mm.
And this is one of the same complaints I had with Dragon Ball Z. You know that infamous arc where they have like 10 episodes that take place over a 5-minute period? Same basic thing. The entire assault lasts about 20 minutes. Sorry, we lost you, NB. Whereas it spans like 7 episodes, because they're like, we're going to say what everything happens from these two characters' point of view. Then we're going to start from the beginning again and go where everything happens from these two characters' point of view. Then we're going to start back over and we're going to go from these two characters' point of view. And it's just like gets really repetitive, really old, and really annoying. The whole 7 or so episodes it was could have been contained into a single episode. So that's my big issue with it. Sorry, I'm going to change one thing. But as of right now, I'm like somewhere on season 4, season 5, wherever the first movie takes place. That's where I stopped.
It's been a while since I watched Acolyte. NB, check. I sent you something in chat.
When is that final season of Stranger Things supposed to come out?
I'm not
5?
sure. I'm sure someone could look it up real quick.
I will look it up.
Well, I got my other phone. I can actually look it up too.
Season 5, Stranger Things, set to release 2025. 2025.
And
Oh,
so, how long ago was the last season? What's it been? 3-4 years?
All right. According to a leak 3 days ago, it could drop as early as October 2025, but might drop in 2026.
Huh.
And let's see, season 4 was released May 27th, 2022. So it's been 3 years already. Well, 3 years in starting Tuesday. It'll be in 3 years since season 4 dropped.
I was trying to think of something.
And
I heard anything yet.
Sorry, I'm going through the originally released stuff. Season 1 was 2016. Season 2 was 2017. So a little over a year later. Season 3 was 2019, about 2.5 years later. Season 4 was 3.5 years later at 2022. So the fact that season 4 or season 5 might be 3.5 years after season 4 actually fits their schedule.
Wait, I'm still waiting on word with what is going to go on for All Mankind and Silo, because I'm waiting. I did find out Silo's getting all 4 seasons, so that's good. I'm curious to see where For All Mankind's going to go. I'm saying if Ed is in this one, this has got to be Ed's last season.
Probably, yeah.
Old man.
Yeah, he's a way old man by this point. At this point, he's probably. This is where his daughter and son are gonna start taking over.
Well, also, have you heard some of the fan theories that the Expanse is what? Sorry, that For All Mankind leads to the Expanse.
No, I haven't heard that one.
They
That
were
would be
talking about
cool.
the colonization of Mars, the freedom movement that's starting on Mars, that and the progression of technology seems to be going towards more and more towards the Expanse. And I thought that'd be a funny way of ending. What the fuck was that?
Sorry, it's gonna be another fossil fire alarm.
I was about to mute you.
Yeah.
That yeah, because of the progression of technology and everything, and the politics of the area, that yeah, For All Mankind might lead to the Expanse, which I think is brilliant, even though it doesn't fit the actual history.
No, but it'd be an so. What year was it now when they said they ended 2012? Is where I think we're at next.
Hold on.
Or 2008. I believe it's sometime during what our timeline would be the Obama administration.
All right, so I'm just looking up timeline changes. All right, so scrolling up or scrolling down to get to modern day. 1996, 1997, 99, 2000. Uh, all right, so yeah, the next season is supposed to be taking place in about 2012.
Okay. So let's see. What do you think well, Danny is the youngest out of all of them. So she's going to be around at that time. Obviously. I wonder what she's doing now that she's back from NASA. She's done Mars and all that. I think it'd be pretty cool if they had her president.
Mm.
We already had one of the Nixon girls as president, so and I love the story arc they did with that, kind of tying it into the Clinton don't ask, don't tell kind of thing. What was it? Her character be Bush, right?
I think her character was more of an amalgamation between Clinton and Bush.
No. I'm talking about in the series though. She, I believe, went up against Bush and lost, or she won the primary against him. I can't remember exactly.
Well,
Or did she go up against Al Gore?
it looks like more of let's see. In 2000, they have it as Gore beating Bush. So,
oh, that's right. Gore beat Bush that time. Yeah, because we were talking about that, and I said, with what happened on Mars and everything, this is probably, and losing the asteroid, it's probably not going to look good on Gore's run for a second term. So,
all right. So, in 1997, they say that she's sworn in as her second term as president. So, she takes basically
the Clinton administration, right?
Yeah. So she's a progressive, background progressive conservative.
Yes.
So yeah, she would basically be a
physical conservative, I would say.
Fiscal conservative, but I said a progressive one based on policies, because it was under her that the don't ask, don't tell thing was essentially installed, which is the same thing Clinton did. But as a change, because she ends up coming out as a lesbian, she, signs legislation to allow gay marriage in 1998
Yeah,
on a federal level.
because remember, he put that in place, and then we had the civil unions and everything that were put in place, and then it was, she did what Obama did, which was eventually, signed it in an equal law that repealed Don't Ask, Don't Tell, which, if you guys have heard me say many times, was a big thing in the military. So yeah, she kind of was able to do it. She was able to set it up way before Obama was able to, because the world was, as far as that was going at the time she was doing it, that was the very beginning of when all that was happening, after the Ellen DeGeneres thing. That's when it was like, you fired her because she was gay. And everybody was like, okay, this is fucking stupid. And then it still took 25 years to get it legalized.
Yeah.
But she's able to do it all the way back then. So in 2012, it's going to be a whole different 2012 than what it would have been in our 2012. And that's what I like about it, is seeing the compare and the contrast of the differences of the eras, especially those eras in the 80s, 90s, the 2000s, the eras we grew up in.
Yeah. And I think it's also a way for them to sidestep the issue in the future, because now they're getting to the point where it happened in the real world. So they don't have to talk about it as much, and they can focus on the more sci-fi aspects, a colony on an asteroid, a colony on Mars, tourism on the moon, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And that would definitely that was one of the things, because remember, after we landed, the space race was over, and the whole point of this was they beat us, and it was like, okay, the space race never stops.
Yeah.
And, the Soviet Union, they have their power, they have the influence. America has their power and influence. And, it looked like, Gore even said, there was that thing when he was on the phone, which I got to admit, they do an amazing job with that AI voicing.
I want to say something about this. I want to say something about the show.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's about the show, okay? If they are really taking a delay and actually trying to do a little parallel with current and live real events,
yeah,
they may switch from Russia being the space race out to North Korea, because right now China is the space race with the U.S. The only ones that's officially in the space race with the U.S. is China. Russia is like, no, we're partners with them. India, we're kind of partners with them. China, no. They are in the space race. Since North Korea was officially the first country on Mars, they can actually be in the official space race against the United States.
Yeah, that's why they have their presence on the Mars colony.
Yeah. It can be a space race between North Korea and America, like Asian country and America, if they want to parallel current events.
Yeah, that would be interesting. And yeah, that was kind of they were like, wait a minute, how long has this guy been on here? Danny and Gregory are like, wait a minute. So this was the first guy on Mars, and they just start laughing. It's like, we did this race and we lost months ago. I just found that funny. They're sitting there like,
yeah, nobody has to pay the bet.
So, and to be honest, I did like that aspect, even though, regardless of the changed timeline, I really think the idea of the North Korea getting anyone to Mars, let alone into space, is bad, hard enough, let alone to Mars. But the fact that they literally point out that, no, he was meant to die on that planet. He was just meant to get there first.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else is focused on not only just getting there, but returning everybody. That made sense.
Yeah, but their point was, we get here first. And, he managed to survive. And, yeah, that kind of definitely puts him in cloud, although, of course, he did defect.
Mm-hmm.
And oh yeah, I do not see what's her name coming back.
Alana.
The one that was working with the Russians.
Yeah, the one who defected.
Elena. That's
Yeah,
her name,
I
right?
don't. You're probably right. I think that she's gonna, once the Soviets said, or not the Soviets, Russia said that, yeah, we're not gonna keep her diplomatic immunity. Yeah, they
Well,
might bring her back.
Didn't she wake
as,
up
like,
as an old woman looking out the window in Russia?
that
yeah,
was
but at the end, she was arrested by the FBI. Remember?
yeah. Remember, because she knew there were consequences going to be for the asteroid and everything, and that's when they took her immunity status, and she knew she would be charged with espionage
Espionage.
and yeah, I mean, shy of her getting she'll be lucky to not get the death penalty.
Well, here's the thing. I could see them doing a small arc in the next season where she's basically in prison, but they need her knowledge for something, and she leverages it to get a presidential pardon.
That is
Russian
about
presidential pardon. Russian presidential pardon.
No, she needs an American presidential pardon because she was arrested by the FBI, and Russia said, go ahead and arrest her.
Oh.
Yeah, because remember, there was a coup over in the Soviet Union. They went more back to, what is it? They overthrew Gorbachev, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They wanted to go back to more of a traditional Soviet Union. And that was tense on Mars. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in this now that they're mining off of Mars, or mining off that. I do love that scene because I thought that was the perfect scene to show how far people are really willing to go and how many are just holding out for money. And, when he comes in there and he's like, yeah, the strike and everything, I'll give you this, and, everybody but the two people left. And then he goes and sees Ed and he goes, it'd almost be funny if it wasn't so sad. He's like, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what they were going to do. But he goes, you two showed me that you're not in this for the money. You're in it for the long term. You want Mars. See, he sees Ed like him. They want to see Mars succeed because they know this could be the end of the space race program and they don't want it that way. So I love when he's like, so what do you say, Ed? You want to steal an asteroid? And I'm just like, oh, shit.
Well, I could imagine that the last season might be, something along the lines of colonizing Titan, or maybe another one of Jupiter or Saturn's moons.
Io or
Enceladus
Europa?
again, I mean.
So, but, I'm looking forward to it. I know you guys were pushing me to watch the damn show, and yeah, I did enjoy it.
Yeah, one of the great things about it is just how, I love what Moore did. He's like, hey, all we did was just change one aspect. And that one aspect, and I mean, yeah, that's the thing. You can change one aspect, what do they call it? The butterfly effect?
Yeah. When it comes to time travel stuff, yeah.
But anyway, it's been very interesting to see how things have gone. And then you've seen, we get to the point they were going to go down to. Oh, yeah. I thought that was a bitch move with that guy. I'm like, you couldn't even let the guy finish his Big Mac. I was like, that's low, man.
I need to load a bowl. Hang on.
I was like, that's a low blow, man. At least let the guy eat his Big
Hey,
Mac.
I need to load a bowl, and Mike needs to take a commercial break.
Yeah.
All right. Let me get my assets up.
Avoid super battle droids, but not the super dealers at SD GameSwap.
There we
Dude,
go.
that was a quick commercial. I'm not even done loading my bowl.
That actually is the longest one. The Stargate one is only 4 seconds. The Star Wars one is 13.
Well, I thought Manu was longer.
No, Mano's in 9 seconds.
Oh.
Well, I could play a Kinder Egg video. I uploaded 3 of those, but they're all like a minute and a half to 2, almost 3 minutes long.
Nah, save them for your shorts.
And yeah, if you're not watching my shorts on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, go watch them, go like them, share them, because I need more people to watch them, especially on YouTube, since my views have dropped tremendously off of them.
Yeah, and if you want to see a cool little animation, click that thumbs up. You know, the like button. Cool little animation when you do that.
Oh, hey, remember that when they start sending the military up there and they're out, it's like, what the hell are we going to do with guns in space?
Apparently, screw over everybody.
Yeah.
Firing a gun in space will not work.
Yeah, well, firing a gun is fine. It's if you're talking about the physics, because
yeah.
cartridges are self-contained.
Yeah, but still.
You need to get close range, at least about a foot, to make some kind of scratch with a bullet in the vacuum. like firing a gun underwater. Like firing a gun underwater. You can stand 5, 6 feet from a 9mm gun underwater, and the bullet will not even hit you. It's been physically done. It's proven.
Yeah, that's because of the mass of the water in between. In space, there's no mass. It's a vacuum. So it would be easier to hit somebody in a vacuum.
And they can easily move out of the way.
No, because reaction times are stalled because there's no gravity.
If they have something to push on or pull on, yeah, they can still move themselves.
But I don't know what you're talking about, but 5 feet away. 5 feet away, if you're shot by a gun in vacuum, you're dead.
Well, think about it. If it tears into the suit, you're fucked.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about tearing into the suit. I'm just saying that, with no friction to slow it down, the bullet would be traveling faster than it would be even on Earth.
Oh, I did finish season 3 of Reach.
Same speed.
No, it would be traveling faster because literally, even that 5 feet of air resistance off the bullet would be slowing it down more than a vacuum.
Hang on a second.
And remember, atmospheric pressure is greater than it would be on a pressurized colony or spacecraft, because usually the pressure is less than atmospheric.
Okay, you are correct. The bullet would travel faster and farther once it leaves the barrel.
No, duh, I'm correct. Sorry,
I've had lack of sleep. The reason why I said it was a false alarm because the thing went off 4 times last night. Sorry, I've had lack of sleep. Man. My brain's not working correctly this morning. Sorry, dude. I've had 6 cups. This is my 6th cup of coffee.
Are you okay, NB? Because you're just a circle.
Now you're a black screen. You are in the void. Uh-oh, the sentry has you. Shit, run away from Bob, quick.
I was going to say, you're in a vacuum.
You're in the void.
Hit by a bullet.
You're in the void, dude. It's all black screen. Like you just came across the void. Like I said, stay away from Bob. Maybe he got it, maybe he didn't. I think it's a connection to this hotel.
Probably. And I don't know what's going on, but there's a lot of aircraft going over. I keep having to mute myself.
It's San Diego.
Oh, we're not that far from one of the civilian airports.
Yeah.
From where I'm at right now. People might
I
be
don't hear it.
shocked about how many airports there are in San Diego County.
Yeah, I don't hear an airplane, just helicopters. If I hear an airplane, something's going on. I mean, the biplanes and power planes don't fly low; they fly above, high enough I can't even hear them. The only time I actually hear a plane is during Fleet Week. That's when those fucking Blue Angels are 50
All
feet
right.
above the roof of my house.
Officially, it took me 4 weeks, but I officially finished off the bottle.
Woohoo!
Uh,
I'm taking
but
longer than that.
I picked up some Mexican brandy, which I'll start drinking for future streams, our CNA streams.
Ooh.
But I definitely want to give it a shot because I like brandy and all, but I've never had full on Mexican brandy.
I like chocolate hooch.
All right, are you there, MB? All we hear is crunching.
Are you there, MB? It's me, Margaret.
Yeah, I'm hearing you guys, but I don't have anything crunchy here.
Well, that's all we're hearing is crunching sounds.
That's all I'm hearing from. Well, I'm hearing it in you guys too.
It's probably bad signal strength.
Yeah.
It's what it is. Oh.
So on the docket for me, when it comes to television, I still want to watch Once Upon a Time, which I haven't even started. I want to finish Daredevil because all I saw was the first episode. I'm going to go back and watch Echo because I forgot entirely about that show. God, what else am I needing to watch?
I wouldn't watch Echo if I were you, but go ahead.
As I said, I missed it, and I want to, I want to watch all the Marvel stuff. I still need to watch Thunderbolts, speaking of Marvel.
You mean the new Avengers?
No, I mean Thunderbolts.
Yeah, the new Avengers.
Thunderbolts.
The new Avengers. It's not the Avengers, it's the new Avengers. You gotta watch the movie to understand that.
I know, I get what you're referring to. I saw the freaking the promotional posters. But my joke about that is they already did a movie called The New Avengers. Remember?
Oh,
It was animated. It was about their kids.
the kids, yeah, the kids in the Chitauri, yeah, and old Bruce. I remember that now.
So yeah, that's my joke because they already did a New Avengers movie. Well, if we're not going to talk about that, I will say I've been trying to post as much stuff to the store as possible lately. And again, I apologize about the plane going overhead.
Well, you don't like spoilers, otherwise I would talk about Thunderbolts.
Yes, because I want to be spoiled by watching it. I have 3 things ready to post, but I am down to, let me see. Let me go back. 568 listings because something sold. So I was at 569. Nice.
Woohoo!
But I've been trying to hit 600 for like the last week. And
What is gonna be a 666 item?
I don't know. That'll probably be around Christmas if I get that many things. And knowing me, based on the amount of records I have that are unposted, it'll probably be a record.
Oh, I went to my toy store this past weekend, and they had a bunch like Indiana Jones stuff there, and there's Last Crusade, so I grabbed Indiana Jones from the Last Crusade. I grabbed what's his name? The guy with the beard that's in all 3 of the movies.
John Rhys Davies?
I don't think him. The foreign guy. He's been in a bunch of stuff. The guy who was always wearing the turban.
John Rhys Davies.
Yeah, that's John Rhys Davies.
Okay,
Yeah, the guy who was in Sliders.
so I'm sitting there and I'm going through this stuff. I'm going through and I'm like, all right, I got these two. And then I'm like looking through and I'm like, hey, I'm like, where's his dad? They were like, those all sold out first. It's like all the Henry Jones seniors went out first before the Indiana Jones. And then they had like they had an Indiana Jones from Dial of Destiny. I'm like, yeah, I want that about as much as I wanted Sarah Connor from Dark Fate. Like, no, I want Sarah Connor. It's like, if I'm going to get anything Indiana Jones, I'll get Raiders of the Lost Ark, I'll get Temple of Doom, I'll get States.
Kalima.
Actually, he was there. They had the Raiders of the Lost Ark stuff, too.
Well, those
And
stones are in the back of Illusion's antique shop. So.
couldn't find Short Round.
Sorry, I'm a little distracted. I'm going over, checking over my eBay store, and apparently within the last couple of last day or so, I got some more people sending me feedback on some of the stuff I sound. Guy that bought a PSP thing from me goes and says, "Thank you. It arrived safe and sound. The quality and appearance, wise condition seems to be fine, and also working as intended." So, what he bought was unopened. So the fact that it's working should be great. Guy who bought Gladiator on VHS, great condition and quality. Elder Scrolls 4 on Xbox, good deal, works great. Book of Boba Fett figure arrived in on time. And then the one that made me most worried, one of the things I sold recently was Star Trek Legacy on Xbox 360, but when I tested it, it wouldn't work properly for me. It kept screwing up during cutscenes. And everyone, say hi to Mrs. Vile. She's in the chat.
Hola, Mrs. Cardenas.
And he actually says that he got it to work just fine. So maybe it was just my Xbox that was having issues. So I'm glad that he got it to work, because it did not work right for me, because I wanted to play that friggin' game. And what's funny is, like, the game I'm playing right now on my Xbox, which my Xbox 360 is down in Mexico with Mrs. Vile. So the only chance I get to play this specific game is when I'm down there.
Oh,
and
dude,
it's Far Cry 3.
You need to
Sorry?
sneak that back. You need to sneak that Xbox and put it in your trunk.
Well, I've got plenty of Xboxes in my storage unit. I just haven't brought one home because most of them are the fat models, and I got to fix them. They're all suffer from the red ring of death.
To quote Riker, no one likes the fat one.
Well, so yeah, one of the things that was funny was I pulled a listing that I was selling of Far Cry 3 so I could play the damn game, because I never got to beat it back in the day. And then as soon as I buy a new copy of it to actually post, so I got two copies of it, one that I'm playing myself and one that I posted with Far Cry 2. I keep getting messages about people asking me, can I just buy Far Cry 3, not Far Cry 2? Normally I'd be all for that, but they want Far Cry 3 for $5, and I'm like, I can't do it just for $5. If you give me 6, I'll buy it, or I'll let you buy it. And that's only because I paid a certain amount for both of the games. I need to make my money back. At $5, my profit margin will be like 15%.
Was a Oh, speaking of which, Far Cry, not Far Cry. What is that show? Fallout.
Fallout.
Yeah.
Yeah, season 2 is coming.
When is that coming?
Let's see.
Because I've been waiting to see when that's coming back out.
Season 2 should release somewhere at the end of the year. 2025.
December
December
2025.
2025.
Oh, okay. Gives me something to look forward to. It's another.
So yeah, and that's definitely something I'll be watching because I'm a huge Fallout fan. I mean, hold on, since we're talking about the store, I'm going to see everything on Fallout I have for sale right now. Give me a second. Sorry, guys. All right, so I have Fallout 4 for sale. Oh, dang, I thought I had more. I only have Fallout 4 and Fallout 2.
How many have there been?
For games, there's been Fallout 1, 2, 3, 4, and then side series, there's New Vegas, Tactics, and that's and 76. So there's been 7 games.
Which one's your favorite?
New Vegas by far. It definitely has the most compelling storyline, the most fun missions. The way it's structured in order to encounter the missions is also really good because there's like multiple ways to activate the same missions. Whereas in Fallout 2 and Fallout 3, it was more like if you don't see this one guy at this right time, you miss out on a large chunk of the game. Oh, sorry, I take it back. There was also Brotherhood of Steel on the Xbox, so there's been 8 games. I forgot about that one because no one ever really counts that one because it was kind of a bad game. But I have sold it before. I do have a copy of Fallout 3 that I will be posting eventually, but the whole issue I have is I want to beat Far Cry 3 and then replay Fallout 3 because my version of when I on my Xbox, I have the DLCs for Fallout 3 on it. So even though this is the base version of the game, I can still play all the DLCs. And because of a fuck up in Fallout 3's way it does certain things, I was never able to play the Pit DLC, the one that takes place in Pittsburgh, because the way the game works is you have to find the corpses of these 3 runaway slaves. And the problem is, when you start the game, they're supposed to be in one location and they'll travel to another location where you're supposed to start the DLC. But if they get killed by just random things in between, you have to now search for those fucking corpses. And there's no marker to send you. The marker just sends you straight to where you're supposed to meet them to begin with. So it just becomes a real big pain in the ass. And if you don't find them in a certain amount of time, they'll despawn from the main game. So now you have no access away starting that DLC. So that's why I want to play Fallout 3 again, is just because there's one DLC I never got to play originally when the game came out. So I won't post that one until after I've beaten Fallout 3 again. And considering how long it's been taking me to beat Far Cry 3, it might be a long while. Although I did recently buy myself something, because I know I've showed off my Switch before. But I personally, for my own collection, I own 0 Switch games. Every game I currently have, I'm either borrowing from one of my kids or Actually, that's just it. I'm borrowing it from either Caddy or my son. Currently borrowing her copy of Tears of the Kingdom. And I still haven't beat that game. And one of the things I bought this week was Mega Man 11 on the Switch. So that'll be going either in my personal collection for a while, or once I beat it, I'll sell it. We'll see what happens. I don't know if what's going to happen, because I also still have. Let me see if I can. Should be right here. Okay, these are all the games that I'm borrowing right now. This is my son's copy of Minecraft that I'm borrowing. Caddy's version of Pokemon Shield, which she even wants me to play just so I can trade with her, because she also has Pokemon Sword. And then hold on, let me put this back so I don't. Come on, go back in the hole. There we go. Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition.
Go back in the hole. They can go in the hole.
The hole is your home. Why don't you want to go into your home? So, and while I've technically beaten the main storyline for Hyrule Warriors, all the side stuff I kind of got sidetracked into stop playing because it's so freaking repetitive. But for the main storyline, I do have it beat. And if I can get certain things done, especially if I can, if you guys can help me out and repost my stuff when I show it. I know a lot of you've been helping. I really need to get my subscriber count up, because if I can get my subscriber count up and I can start monetizing, I'll have, more incentive to, put out videos more often, not just ones related to SD Game Swap.
Oh, hey, Mike.
I'll be right back. I need to do the Loja.
Hey, just real quick, this has to do with the prior conversation we had at the earlier stream. When you mentioned the dome, that kind of stuff, I just wanted to say something, because I'm watching the opening for the Indy 500, and the most likely branch that would end up being used for that area would be the Space Force, considering that's what it was mainly designed for.
When it comes to the space-based stuff, I would probably agree with you.
Yes.
But for the terrestrial-based sites that most of, as I said, they wanted to build over 200 terrestrial-based sites. Most of those are either controlled, like the ones for California are controlled by the United States Navy. The ones in the Midwest are mostly controlled by the United States Army. And I have no idea who controls the ones currently on the East Coast.
Yeah, you'd be setting up coordinated responses with each of those areas. But yeah, the satellite stuff, that detection stuff, that would fall under the purview of Space Force, because that's what Space Force is actually what it was based off of when it was created. Is they took one of our MAGCOMs from the Air Force, U.S. Space Command, and that's what they turned the Air Force into. Kind of like with the Army, they turned the Army Air Corps eventually into the Air Force.
Yes.
So,
bringing up Space Force, here's one of the things I want to see going into sci-fi and nerd shit again. I really want to see a new Stargate thing, because now that Space Force is a thing, I want to see, because in Stargate they have the Department of Homeworld Security, which the United States Air Force falls under the purview of. Sorry, not preview. And the Air Force is what's in control of the Stargate. So I'd like to see the transition of Stargate Command being moved from Air Force to Space Force, and all of it being under the umbrella of the Department of Homeworld Security, and getting rid of all the secretive crap and bring it into, open, so that everybody on the world on the planet knows about the Stargate program and everything else they've been focusing on. That way they can actually turn it into, a proper sci-fi show, in regards to like Star Trek or The Expanse or anything like that.
So basically, you want to run by a private company like Wormhole Extreme, right?
Now think about this. All right, now think about this. I think he's on to something here. Since the Space Force has been created, this would be an interesting time to. When did Atlantis go off the air?
God, I think it's almost been 2 decades. Let me check.
So this would be the perfect time to be like, okay, because remember, not every SG team was all Air Force. SG, what was it? Some of the SGs were Marine specific. One was a Russian team. Some were scientific only teams.
All right, so hold on. Stargate Atlantis, the last episode was January 9th, 2009. So that's close enough to 2008 where we can argue that it actually has been almost 2 decades.
Yeah. You guys do remember there was a Stargate SG-1 episode that actually featured what you're talking about, where everything was out in the open.
Yes, but that was a time travel episode, and they erased that future, so I don't think it counts.
No, what you could start doing is you could set it up to be, say, maybe a year or two after it's been announced about the Stargate program to the world. Or we start at the very beginning where the world finds out the world is told about the Stargates.
And think of it this way. Remember how in like the last couple of Stargate seasons, they started doing like like raw recruits and cadets that are being trained to be Stargate personnel?
Yeah.
We could easily see Stargate Academy. I know I'm playing off of the Starfleet Academy thing, where you could have a show about people learning about the Stargate, going, and think about the recruiting aspects of the United States military. If it comes to light that the Stargate program exists, that could easily be like, I can see a president being like, well, our Space Force is basically a joke, so we're going to roll the Stargate program into the Space Force so we can get our Space Force recruitment numbers up.
Project Stargate already existed in the 50s.
One of the other things, too, you could do with that.
I'm talking about real world Elihu.
Yeah, no. Project Stargate existed in the 50s already. It was a psychic program.
Okay, now let's focus on the show part right here.
Yeah.
And I've got about 2 minutes. I've got about 5 minutes, and then I got to get going because I got to get something at the store before I go to my grandson's birthday party. What you could do is you talk about the recruitment and everything. You make the Stargate program kind of like what I did at DIA, which is a joint service program. It's not necessarily under, like the Defense Intelligence Agency. We had just about every branch of service in there. And we were under CENTCOM, but we were not. It's confusing. But the point is, you make it a joint operation. Then what you do is you go through your MOSs or your FSCs, and then you apply. You do like any other special duty, like you want to be a SEAL, you want to be a recon. You got to go through the training to make sure you qualify. Because by now they've got enough to start doing plenty of recruitments, and they've got plenty of data for off-world stuff. So yeah, I could definitely see a potential for a Stargate series now coming back.
Well, even the original Stargate SG-1, within the first 2 seasons, they had a team of Marines.
Yes, that's what I said.
That was back when they only had 10 teams. One of them was, they're heavy, they're less exploratory, more we're in deep shit. We need a team of Marines, so they have one.
I think that was SG8.
I'm not going to say you're wrong because and I'm not going to say you're right because I have no idea which one you're. Hold on, I have an extra phone. I can look it up.
Yeah, just look up what each SG team was because they all had specific functions.
I can do that probably faster.
All right, so SG1 was exploration.
Never mind.
SG2 was exploration, research, and search and rescue. SG3 was Marine Combat Unit, search and rescue.
Okay.
SG4 was medical / exploration / that was the Russians. SG5 was Marine Combat Unit. SG6 was search and rescue. SG7 was scientific and medical. SG8 was medical. SG9 was diplomatic. SG10 was military exploration. And then later on teams, they have SG11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, up to 25. And then, okay, so let's go back. I'm going to go back a little bit, sorry. So there's 25 teams total. SG11 was archaeological / engineering / scientific. SG12 was, again, medical and military. SG13 was scouting, survey / covert ops. SG14 was exploration. SG15 was exploration. SG16 was scientific. 17, exploration. 18 was another Marine unit. 19 was another covert ops unit. 20 was another Russian unit. 20 and 21, 21 and 22 are unnamed or unknown. SG23 was more of securing like the off-world bases. 24 is unknown, and 25 was Army.
Well, what you could also do is now that, like we also did at DIA and CENTCOM and stuff, we had foreign officers who worked alongside us. So you could also have that integrated into it too. Different countries, different scientific teams getting there. They're kind of like the Atlantis program.
Well, with a modern day setting, I would easily see that them having a Chinese team or two.
Yeah.
French, English or UK, German.
You don't think it'd be
hold on.
A European.
Go ahead.
I was saying, you don't think they want to do like a European Union thing?
I don't know if they would do European, maybe a NATO combined team or several NATO combined teams.
Possibly. Anyway, I think there's potential. No, I mean, seriously, I think there's great potential for that to come back, especially now.
Definitely, I would like to see a Canadian and Australian teams because, we've worked so well with Canadian and Australian Special Forces in the past.
Yeah.
And because of their, space program going on right now and the impressive stuff that they've been doing, I would say an Indian team.
Oh, yeah. I could definitely see
because
that.
I think India is one of the ones that has actually made it to the moon, even if it's via rovers only. So hold on, let me check.
India, China, U.S., Russia.
Okay, anyway, guys, I gotta go get ready for I gotta go to my grandson's party. I'll catch you guys on the flip side next week.
Later, dude.
Later. Bye, Bob.
Bye, Bob. Yeah, I believe it was U.S., Russia, China, India, and a private company.
Okay, Japan has launched satellites.
Yeah, but talk about landing on the moon, right?
Yes, but I'm just going through for the last 25 years. NASA impacted the moon. I don't consider that really a landing. Okay, China made a soft landing. Let's see.
China made 2.
What is... Apparently Lux Space
Yeah, the private
landed something
company.
on the moon in 2004.
Yeah, the private company. I forgot the name of the company. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm just reading about it because I'm not familiar with that one, but I'll have to go back and read that.
You know I am. And this is the sound of Mike reading. If you really want to see something cool about one of the recent moon landing images, check out all this in quotes. Square building on moon, unquote.
Oh, I'm not even gonna bother, dude. That sounds like conspiracy theory bullshit. Korea has a satellite above the moon. More Japan. The UAE actually got a orbiter as well.
Mm-hmm. But not landed.
And landed a rover. Wow, I didn't even realize that.
Wait. I did not know the UAE landed a rover. When?
No, sorry. It was precluded, so it hasn't actually landed yet.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa. When did this happen? Hello, Space News. I'm lacking behind. Holy shit.
And apparently it's also a Falcon 9, so it's in concert with SpaceX. India again. Okay, yeah. India officially became the 4th country to successfully land on the lunar surface. Yeah. So we got United States, Russia, China, China, and India.
And the private company.
Let's see.
Yeah, I believe India landed on the South Pole.
All right, and Japan, with their rover landing in September 6, 2023, became the 5th country.
Oh, fuck. What about that one? Hayabusa.
All right, so the private company iSpace Europe has a with a joint mission with JAXA, has a rocket en route to the moon right now, including a rover.
Okay, I have a list right here for you, complete listings and time frames for you. Soviet Union 59, US 66, China 2013, India 2023, Japan 2024. Intuitive Machines landed a beta tilts, but it's not really. Yeah, the Hyoko crashed. Yeah, Russia, USA, China, India, and Japan.
So yeah, those I can see each of those teams having a or each of those countries having a team because of their experience now. And if you want to relate it to modern politics, we could have the F-305 or the F-302 program, and whether or not certain countries are going to buy it from the United States.
Not the F-47.
Yes, I'm not going to include a fighter craft that doesn't even have any fucking plans yet. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go off AI images because that thing was the two things that they were talking about. I'm like, no, those don't work. Sorry,
Had to bring it up, man.
but we can even see it as like a. We have the F-302, and in universe, the F-302 was introduced. Around season 5 of Stargate SG-1? So the early 2000s?
20-year-old plane.
Yeah, we can see the introduction to like the F-304, or I'm sorry, they already had the F-304. The F-305. And
hang on, I got an idea.
what? You said you had an idea.
Yeah, hang on a second. I'm typing.
All right,
Okay.
hang on for a second.
Okay. Real world military aircraft: the F-15 Eagle, F-16 Fighting Falcon, the F-302, but it was diverted from the F-15 F-22 design. The UH-60 Blackhawk, the CH-47 Chinook, the C-130 Hercules, the C-5 Galaxy, FA-18 Hornet, B-2 Spirit Stealth Bomber, SR-71 Blackbird. These are real-life military aircraft that appeared in Stargate SG-1.
Or at least mentioned.
No, actually physically appeared on the show.
Oh, okay. I didn't think a Galaxy actually showed up. I just know O'Neill talked about it.
Yeah, the C-5 Galaxy. The Stargate movement or off-world mission gear.
So yeah, I could easily see, the next generation battleship design, in addition to the BC-304, which was the Daedalus class, next generation Stargate-based fighters like the F-305. So yeah, let's get this show running, guys. Come on.
Yeah, it's well known that the U.S. Air Force even consulted on the show. Come on. Oh, don't forget about the F-302, Earth space fighter that was actually based on real-world tech, but it was
That's what I was talking about originally, because we have the F-301, which was the test bed glider human hybrid.
Yeah, it was based on real fighter jet
the
fuselage.
F-302 and the F-302, which were entirely man-made. The F-303, the X-303, which became the Prometheus. The X-304, which became the BC-304, which became the Daedalus class.
I thought the Prometheus changed to the O'Neill.
No, it was always the Prometheus.
What ship did they rename the O'Neill? Did they rename a ship the O'Neill?
No, that was the Asgard made a ship class they called the O'Neill class.
Yeah, I know, but didn't they rename a human ship the O'Neill?
No, as far as I know, the only ship that was in Stargate that was named after somebody was the John Hammond.
Thank you, Hammond. Okay.
Because the ship that in one timeline became the Phoenix, commanded by Sam Carter, ended up becoming the John Hammond, commanded by Sam Carter.
I wish Joe Malozio was on here. He can explain this a lot better.
So, all right. Well, since it's just the two of us, I might as well end the stream.
I really can't do anything till afternoon. That's when the buses are actually freed up again. The mission district's less crowded. But I mean, the area where I need to go to the dispensary is less crowded. But hell, they to get to the mission district right now.
Let me bring up my assets. I'll play the last commercial.
Great.
And we can do that. Yeah, I meant to play this one first, but I played it last.
Jafar, buy an SD game swap.
All right, you're 19 years old now. I figure it's about time you got one after all your complaining.
Life forms, you tiny little life forms, you precious little life forms. Where are you?
I didn't play
Somewhere
that
out
one because
there.
we have not played life forms in such a long time.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so I will do my best to do a God, what I can't even remember the name of my own ancillary stream. What the fuck did I call it?
Uh, um, Crazy nerd assholes. I forget.
It's community offensive stream. There we go. The community offensive stream. Because AI couldn't figure out what the fuck the CNA stream was about. So I will do my best to do a community offensive stream some point this week. I am set to train somebody new to take some of my hours because my day job has been like, we're tired of giving you overtime, so we're hiring somebody new. You have to train them now. So they're going to be taking over one of my stores, and hopefully that means I'll have time to actually do a community offensive stream on Wednesday. So we will tentatively put a community offensive stream on Wednesday. I don't know what time yet. If you're following me on the social medias, send me a message saying what time you think would be good to do it on. Until then, I'll just say later, folkses.
Later, weirdos.